Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Bogue, and I have this very grand title of an Associate Dean in the School of Health and Society. It sounds very grand, as if we're going to change the world, but we do. But I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on in the afternoon. My school is responsible for your nurses, your midwives, your health visitors, radiographers, OTs, social workers, social policy, counsellors, psychotherapists, criminologists, and just about everything else. It's a real school of people who really are going to take the world to a different place. So some of your speakers have already talked about how we have to take the world to a different place, and that's what we do every day in our school. But I'll say more later on.
So my name's Annie Mbako. I actually studied biomedical sciences at the University of Manchester. I spent the majority of my career in financial services, working in operations and client services, and chairing multicultural networks. So I'm a big advocate for diversity and inclusion in the city, particularly within professional services. And I currently work as the program director of the Hero Works. So there are only two of us, and we've only been going for about 6 months, and we're out to help women in professional services future-proof their careers. So we pride ourselves on being, I guess, a really fun business development course like no other. So there's a lot of frills because of myself and my co-founder. There's a lot of frills, a lot of laughs, very serious work going on, but we want to bring a different face and a different way of teaching business development. So the same concepts, but just different mode of delivery.
Hi, I don't normally talk into microphones. I'm Sam. I work in the Inclusion and Diversity team in HR. And before that, I was a student here doing business management, also doing my master's. And in my private life, I volunteer for a homeless young people's charity in Manchester. So.
It's awesome what she does. I had a little chat with her before. I'm Misalo Kunda, and I'm a photographer, and also I work very closely with Paul at Time for Design, and we are currently developing this fund, but it's actually not just the fund, it's actually developing a community of forward thinkers, and we work with people on 3 different levels. So we've got consultants who are experts in their field, and then we've got people in the mid-career, and then we've got people who are developing skill sets, like people who might want to change their career because they want to do different things or train in different things. So we've got 10 different areas, and there's finance, there's IT and logistics, there's media and marketing, and there's various different aspects, but we work with people on those 3 levels. And so we're currently developing a volunteer development program, which we are hoping that we could retain our volunteers to employ them once this whole thing kind of takes off. So, yeah.
I should have just stood there. Okay. Again, I'm going to ask 2 questions, and then I'm going to throw it to you guys to ask questions about empowerment. And really, I would love to hear this. From the people sat here right now, personally, we have training, education, and then we have money. Basically, that's how I'm saying it. Yeah, which is good. That's how you get empowered. If I really needed to do something, I need to get the skills, I need to train myself and how to do it, and I need to get the money to get it done. Thank you, Paul. And yeah, so I want to ask a question. In the aspect of training, I know in the university, I'm very proud of the fact of the work they've done in Africa with prosthetics and all these sort of stuff. And to get someone prosthetic in Africa now would be so expensive. To get someone an arm if they don't have an arm or something like that. And inclusive and diversity, you've got women that we need to empower with more training, more skills, especially in Africa. We need to give them more money to do businesses. I know there's big things about microfinance, Kenya with M-Pesa. Many things are happening right now in the aspect of empowerment. So how would you say personally, I always like to know people personally. How would you say personally, you as a person and your organization, I know we've heard loads about it, but how do you say that you're tackling limitations that get people to be empowered? I want to know, like, personally, how you're doing that in the health school. Yeah, let me know. Or let us know.
That's an easy question. I think one of the things that you have to think about, if you just take one of our schools, and I get these grand titles and that, but the one I'm most proud of in my entire life is I'm a nurse, which as a man is something that's a bit rare, and is a female-dominated profession. Now this might be a bit controversial, but if you sit there and think about how much a nurse gets paid, or how a nurse is treated, in ways that people in male-dominated professions get treated, there is a massive difference. And one of the things that we do within the school, nursing moved into universities about 15 years ago and has been a degree-only profession for about 8 years. And one of the things that we want to teach people is to have a voice, because that's the most important thing. You'll have heard the great stories, nurses never strike, nurses never do this, nurses never do that. They're angels, the religious connotations. But nurses are professional. Nurses are mostly women, 90% was the last figure. And nurses are treated very badly because they are, always having to work late, always doing extra shifts, always doing different things, no overtime, no extra courses. So what we try to teach people is, it's great to do these things, but make sure people hear your voice. And if they don't hear your voice, you're not shouting loud enough. So that's the first thing that we try to teach them.
Absolutely agree with that. And I guess that's something that Natalie and myself are doing. I know many people in this room may not know, but the proportion of ethnic minority women in senior leadership circles in business in Manchester is very low. So Natalie's mixed race, I'm obviously black. Us physically being in that room is making a statement. From the day that we started the Hero Works, we have physically been going into networks, into businesses, they already exist, and telling women about the Hero Works. And we've actually been quite surprised at the reaction. There's a lot of excitement because I think there's women, especially in Manchester, especially in business, they want things like this to happen, but a lot of them don't believe that they can do it. And just by showing them, because we come from the same stock, we're going after clients who we used to work for. So they're women who we understand, they're women who we know, they're women, who we've been networking with for years. So if they can see that we can do something to change and we're doing something that they need, we're hoping that that's going to make them change. And it is actually kicking them, getting them into momentum, especially with me, because well, she'll kill me for saying this, but Natalie and I have about a 30-year age difference, something like that. So we've done that on purpose as well, to make sure that, we're hitting at the end of the scale. So for people who are just going into their careers and they've only got a few years of experience, they definitely have a lot of imposter syndrome, and they will be thinking, am I good enough? Am I senior enough? Do I know enough to do what I'm doing? And then at the other end of the scale, there are women who will be thinking, oh, I should just give up and retire because there's no point in me climbing up that ladder. There's no point in me trying to get my side hustle off the business. I'm done already. So really, it is by us being visible ourselves. We're using ourselves because we are our target customer. And that's the main way that the Hero Works is working. So when we spread this across the world as well, we're going to have ambassadors. It's a repeatable model across the globe. So the ladies who run the Hero Works in whichever country are going to do exactly the same thing that we're doing. Just get out there and do it so people can see you and be inspired.
Okay, I don't know which microphone, but I'll go with this one. So in my personal life, like I said, I volunteer for a charity that supports homeless young people. For me personally, I do employability mentoring. So that's all about giving the young people the skills and the sort of confidence to go into interview situations, to apply for jobs, and to think a bit more broadly about what they could do. A lot of them haven't really considered anything yet, or considered university as an option, or so in my personal life, that's something that I'm really passionate about, empowering young people to apply for jobs. At work, or in Salford University, I've been involved in staff networks since I joined as a staff member in 2016. So I have been involved with Women's Voice and with Salford Proud, which is the LGBT network, and the women's group, respectively. So a big part of that is about getting the different groups to come together and work collaboratively on things. So we also have things like Women's Voice Awards, which is where people from across the university, students and staff, can nominate and award different awards in 3 different categories to women from across the uni. And every time we run this, we've run it twice now, every time we do, the feedback we get where people are like, I'm so happy I've been nominated, I feel really special about it, that to me is really important and something I think we should do more of. Yes, so, yep.
Is that something that guy said I shouldn't do when you start speaking, saying, Yeah. I think at TIFE Decide, we work on so many different levels and work with so many different communities. And for me, I think I agree with you, Annie, about being able to connect different communities and actually being visible. And when you go out and you speak to different people in different areas and different places, you don't realise that that person there has got something that person over there might need. And they're in such a close proximity, and they don't even know that each other exists and that they could help one another. And just by actually talking to people and connecting and being visible, it's just really exciting to be able to bring people together, to facilitate different people's needs. So if there's a graphic designer, and there's a fashion designer and there's a photographer, if you get the 3 of them together, everybody's getting a portfolio, everybody's getting something that they need, and it's about getting people connected. But yeah, if you're actually going out and speaking to people and meeting them, and I think that's a good thing.
Great stuff. Thank you. One of the things about empowerment, and everybody's saying it here, is about being visible, your voice, being heard, saying it out there, so that not just only you're empowering people by them hearing it, but at the same time, it's out there. One of the biggest things in this putting things out there is technology, social media. It's one of the biggest things that's happening. So massive. I would say personally, I'm always on it. You would see me posting everywhere, hashtagging everyone, at everyone, hear me, Sam Talks, podcast, everything, just to say it out there that, come on guys, let's do it. Again, let's do it. So in this aspect, I'm going to ask my last question. I really want us to answer this one faster because we're running out of time. So just 30 seconds straight up on it. In this aspect of technology growing up and growing really fast, and social media taking over everywhere, how do you see us using technology in 2 aspects that I'm really very passionate about in empowerment, is women empowerment and actually the empowerment of our earth, of making sure that we don't destroy this earth, because we are, with all the capitalism and the oil and all the other stuff that we're doing. So how do you think, I'm going to ask a hard question now, Brian, how do you think we can actually use technology and social media to actually empower people differently, not by tweeting and literally nothing's happening? I just saw that, I liked it, and I feel good, I liked it. I liked it, and then you're like, oh, Sam liked my post. Oh, cool guy. He's supporting me. He's in our network. But how do we do it differently that we can push people to actually make the positive change? So, yeah, I want to hear.
God, I'm old enough not to even know about social media. I have tweeted already about today. I think that it's about separating the doing, you know, and doing the likes and all those kind of things, and looking at the people who are behind the social media and behind the reach and being able to do things. I don't know if any of you know of an incredible woman who I call a friend, Una King. She Baroness Una King. She used to be the MP for Bethnal Green where I lived. And she's an incredible woman because she talks about her passion and how she got to be an MP. And she always talks about it on her very first days being an MP, walked into the House, second black woman ever to be voted into Parliament. And a couple of Tory MPs said, "Oh, are you the new cleaner? You shouldn't be in here." And she went, oh, and waved her badge and then waved two fingers at him. But she lost her seat in a very ugly battle in Bethnal Green with George Galloway. And after that, she went to the House of Lords. Where is she now? She then moved to Channel 4, made a huge empowerment as head of diversity. Where is she now? She is the head of diversity for Google, living in San Francisco. That's who makes these differences. You follow her, you speak to her, and she is a great person for talking to people. That's the influence that you make, and that's how you'll empower the world. It's not just about your tweets. It's actually about talking to these people who every day are making these huge impacts onto social media and the world around us. So follow Una tonight.
Awesome. I think one big thing that I'm surprised, actually, that I haven't let go of, and it's going to be really, really important in the development of the Hero Works, is these online networks. So online forums, Facebook groups, LinkedIn groups. There are so many. The reason why they're important is because some of those powerful people, like Una King, influential people, they're actually divulging information within those groups. And it's not as if they don't tweet about them or send out information all the time, but you can have a conversation with those people. You can go in deep in a way that you can't go in if, you know, they tweet and they don't feel like replying to your Twitter, or there's somehow a license or some kind of special status given to people within groups and forums. So I would encourage, this is for anybody, but particularly it works well with women, is if, you know, you have a chance to join a group, whether it's paid or free, have a go and do it, because the power in terms of connections that I've seen, in terms of knowledge that's being shared, for some reason, we can have all this technology, but there's something about human connection, and the magic only happens within those online communities. So definitely taking force of an online community. We've got one at the Hero Works as well. Obviously, it's exclusive only to people that come to our course or interact with us in some way or capacity, because we want to know that the people are serious. But that's where I'm trying to be open and send out information as much as I can, but I get into my deepest conversations and share the most valuable information within those communities.
I'll be brief because I know we're running out of time. But I think just to echo something that was said earlier by, I think, quite a few different people, if you can see me, you can be me, sort of thing. And I think social media brings that a lot closer. You see people that you maybe wouldn't have in your organisation or in your circle, that inspires you more and gives you that, I can do that, because that person's doing it a bit more. So, yeah.
We don't necessarily do social media yet as much. We've just started working with Otis over there. He's a social media expert. But our company's actually growing, like, globally. And our chair lives in Canada. He chairs our meeting from Canada. And so we're growing our organisation internationally through Zoom. I don't know if you've heard of Zoom. So we have our board meetings and our leadership team meetings, and various different people have got different times that they can work. So some of our coordinators have got, one of the ladies has got amazing children. One of her children is 8, and she's been picked for the Olympics gymnastics team, so she trains a lot, and her other child is in the Cheetham School of Music, which is the top 1% of music, and she teaches all of them 6 instruments, so they all play 2 instruments each. So she's not able to physically come to meetings, but she does have a couple of hours during the day whilst they're at school to contribute her expertise to our leadership team meetings. So we're not using social media, but we are using technology to connect people from in and around. I'm about to travel to Zambia to go and meet some female activists who work with women's rights in Zambia. And so we're broadening our network. We've got Ghanaians and Nigerians, but again, through Zoom, we're making these connections and growing the organisations digitally. And yeah, it's great to virtually grow communities, but actually producing something really good. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay. This is passing the mic. They should sort that out. Yeah, but you know, I would take one question, but I don't even know if we have the time. Does anybody have a question? No? Okay, lucky me. Yay, lucky me, but not lucky you guys. But yeah, thank you so much. Just the 2 questions, knowing you guys and actually talking about technology and seeing how we can empower people with technology. I'm really, really passionate about the technology, and I'm going to give a talk about what the Eco platform is about now. And maybe we can actually see the purposeful reason for a platform that removes all the jargon of misinformation and put people that are influencers in different purposeful way of actually making that difference to happen. So let's give a round of applause to the panel. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.